Okay, things are getting cool, but I have questions. Hey, what's up? This is your boy Gashawn. I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd. We're going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4, mainly 4, of WandaVision, and talk about what they revealed and what direction that this show seems to be going, and if there's anything that's a little weird about it. Let's talk about it. So in episode 3, we see the birth of Billy and Tommy, who are actually Wiccan and Speed. Well, they'll grow up to be that. Their souls, at the very least, kind of complicated because what they are now apparently are fragments of Mephisto's soul, which might be a spoiler alert if they go with that, but that's what it was in the comic. So, I guess possible spoiler, whatever, right? Which is pretty cool, obviously, because they're going in that direction. And obviously, what happens to Monica at the end of that, she gets jettisoned out of Westview because she starts breaking out of the spell, so to say, and she starts talking about Quicksilver. And then obviously Wanda's not too fond of that because it also breaks her out of her, her fantasy life that she has there. And then it kind of goes directly into episode 4. Episode 3 is cool, but episode 3 kind of just served as a segue to 4. And that's where some cool stuff happens, because that really focuses on, a lot of the focus is on Monica Rambeau, which is awesome. Awesome. She's actually a very good character in the comics, and she's portrayed very well by Tiana Harris. I actually really like the way they have this character. Her personality is pretty cool. She doesn't have her powers yet. I'm thinking maybe she does have powers, or at the very least she's gonna get her powers somehow. But whatever happens with Wanda, when Wanda threw her out of that force field or the spectrum of energy, get it? 'Cause that's her name. But a couple things I found kind of weird. They made her mother, Maria Rambeau, the founder of S.w.o.r.d, which is not a thing. It's not a thing at all in the comic. And it doesn't make sense for it to be in the MCU either, because she's an ex-fighter pilot. Why would she have founded S.w.o.r.d? S.w.o.r.d is a sister or brother, whatever, organization to S.h.i.e.L.D. And their relations got kind of messed up when Nick Fury decided to leave, which we saw Nick Fury with at S.w.o.r.d at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. Kind of odd. The person who is the commander of, in the show it's this guy named Tyler Hayward or something like that, which is also not a thing, but the commander of S.w.o.r.d in the comics is actually Abigail Brand. She's a half human, half alien hybrid. She's an awesome character. It'd be cool if that was the commander, and just say Monica was her most trusted person there. Instead, they went with the whole oh, hey, your mom made this for you, and she didn't want you to go into space for some reason. She wants you to stay on the ground. We don't know what that is. I really want to see what that is about. I do want to see what they're talking about there. But I thought it's kind of a missed opportunity not to have Abigail there, because that's a big part in S.w.o.r.D. It got introduced in Astonishing X-Men in 2003, 2004, something like that. Like early 2000s, I remember. But it's an X-Men thing. This is a direct connection to the X-Men. People don't understand that. So when you do the whole Maria thing, you kind of mess that up. You take that connection away from that. Until Abigail can still come later on, but regardless, you're messing up the inception of the organization. That's a big thing. Whatever. The portrayal of Jimmy Woo, right? Jimmy Woo, a lot of people don't understand, is actually the leader. He has it was a recent comic that was called The Agents of Atlas, which had a whole bunch of brand new original, not all of them, instead of Amadeus Cho and stuff like that, but there was a whole bunch of original, well-designed Asian characters in there. And he was the leader. He was kind of the James Bond / Nick Fury of the whole group. Awesome. This guy, how they have him in this show, is not the same dude. It's just not the same. Marvel likes to do that, to make them a little goofy, make it more comedy-based. And I understand the appeal, but that guy is not the one who does a whole bunch of other cool stuff in the comic. And now people are what if him and Darcy have a X-Files type of thing? It's ew. Why? He's actually doing much cooler things. Why would that be a thing? I mean, Darcy wasn't one of my favorite characters anyway from the Thor thing, so it's whatever. It's cool that they made they're connecting certain parts of the universe. I actually do like that part. I like the whole TV show aspect. I like that motif. I think it was a creative way to tell the House of M storyline. I just knew that explaining it was going to be a bit convoluted, and it was, because when you heard them trying to explain, like, oh, it's actually this, it's giving old broadcast waves, and let me get a TV. Like, it was a bit convoluted. I understand. Even for superhero stuff, it was convoluted. It really was. But it's to be expected because they chose a weird way to go about it. So I'm not really surprised. However, I like the direction this is going because you can even see Scarlet Witch, like, she's not like the innocent hurt person at the end. It's like, it seems like what she's doing is kind of purposeful. And she knows, like, it's not real, but she's like, she'll do anything to keep this facade up as long as she needs to. And it's like, and what's so special about Westview? Like, why is she doing it there? Also, she's supposed to be the villain in Multiverse of Madness, and the way they have her acting here, I can definitely see where she gets to that point. So I want to see that, and I want to see where Agatha comes up in all this. I definitely want to see if this is going to go into. I mean, look, we got S.w.o.r.d here. Like I said, that's a direct connection to the X-Men. I mean, actually, one of the operatives of S.w.o.r.d was actually Lockheed. Like, he was actually in Xavier's mansion. He was like an undercover operative, which is pretty cool. So yeah, like, this is a direct connection here. It's like, it's one of the biggest ones that you can see. A lot of people don't know that. So I still enjoy these 3 episodes, and I think this is where a lot of the mainstream audience can start getting into it, because it's starting to remind them of the movies. Because even the way the episode 4 started off, it had the whole everyone was materializing back, right? Everyone was coming back from what they like to call the blip, right? You know, like 2 or 3 years later, Monica comes back in the hospital room where she was next to her mother. Her mother's actually already died. Got it. I've always had a weird problem with the blip because the finality. In the comic, when Thanos snapped, people died. They didn't just get snapped out of existence. They were dead. So they had an afterlife, and then they were just brought back to life. These people kind of like just were like snapped out of existence and came back still thinking like they were in the same time as they were before. So I like the panic that all these people had when they came back. That was kind of cool. But I wish Marvel like went with the more grim thing, which is like, you know, what if since all these people were dead, what if some of them didn't want to come back? What if some of them enjoyed being where they were at? Like, that's a whole other dynamic that you can think about. Or what if, you know, they were in the afterlife watching their loved ones move on? That'd be a whole other thing, right? But yeah, whatever. The episode was still very good. The series is obviously getting better, and you should still be watching it. I hope you're still watching it. It's still going in a very good direction. I can't wait for episode 5, and I know you can't either. So yeah, keep on watching. Catch up if you haven't, and just remember to enter the nerd.